Hi everyone, Dave Bradshaw here alongside RevPro booker and owner Andy Quildan. We have just gone off air live in Lyon. Fans have just walked out here after an incredible night of action. Andy, we've got to start with the main event because Shah Samuels defending that undisputed British heavyweight championship against Jay Joshua. It was everything that we expected from the match and much more. But I do think that the way the match ended asked more questions than it offers answers.
Yeah, it's not without its controversy, is it? But look, there's so much to unpack here. I just want to start by thanking the people of Lyon for making us feel so at home. I mean, you got in today, didn't you? But myself, Shah and Jay were on a bit of a media tour the past 48 hours. And that was pretty crazy, to be honest, because you could feel the tension between Shah and Jay constantly. And I think as the weekends went on, Jay Joshua grew in confidence. He grew in confidence and he grew in confidence. He believed that it was his time. He said it was time to change the game. And he did everything right in that contest. But at the end of the day, it was should we say, a wily veteran maneuver from Shah, which was not without its controversy. The feet on the ropes and the ropes and big championship matches have been quite the bone of contention over the past 12 months here in Revolution Pro Wrestling. You think back to what happened when David Francisco had that handful of ropes, but unfortunately for him, it was in front of the referee, and the match wound up the decision got overruled, match got restarted. David's not shut up about that moment since. And then think about what happened. Shah Samuels and Michael Oku live in London 100, that huge main event. And Michael Oku, he had that opportunity to hold the ropes and he decided not to. But it crossed his mind. And I tell you what, Shah Samuels had that opportunity to get the feet on the ropes today, and he took that opportunity. It was almost like he needed to take that opportunity to get past Jay Joshua. But as you say, at the end of the contest, Jay Joshua absolutely incandescent with rage, and maybe that's even an understatement.
Yeah, and I think people will say that that because it's Shah Samuels and it's not someone else, that we're describing it in a less harsh way. But I mean, yeah, it was against the rules what Shah Samuels did. I think the reason is exactly as you said, which is that he tried everything. He tried a moonsault. He did a super East End destroyer off the top rope. The spine bust, everything he tried to do. He could do everything to Jay Joshua except pin his shoulders to the mat for the 1, 2, 3, and he had to find a way, and he did.
Yeah, and that's it. And I guess that's what makes champions. And maybe that's a throwback to Shah Samuels. That's a throwback to the old East End Butcher. But I think it's maybe in many ways that's a lesson to anyone who's challenging Shah and taking Shah for granted, maybe taking the smile for granted, maybe taking the fact that he's a nice guy for granted, because we know he will do anything to hold on to that undisputed British heavyweight championship. He said it in the build-up to his contest, I fight best when my back's against the wall, and fight he did tonight. It was a main event which I think was absolutely worthy of being the first British heavyweight championship defense sanctioned here in France. It was a main event was absolutely worthy of being the main event of our first ever show here in France. I think it gave the wrestling fans here in Lyon a real taste of pro wrestling at its best.
We're going to come back to a lot of the stuff from tonight. I do want to, while we're talking about Shah Samuels set to team with Michael Oku next week against the Young Guns live in London, November 2nd, Portchester Hall for the undisputed British Tag Team Championships. Obviously, Oku unable to compete tonight with a knee injury. Do we have any updates on the status of Michael Oku? And do we think that what happened at the end of Samuel's match tonight, or indeed with Luke Jacobs against Trent Seven, does that change anything for next week?
Honestly, I don't know. This is one of those things. We don't have our usual medic here tonight. So we obviously got the French medics here. Michael turned up very late because he was coming from a show in Ireland last night, which is obviously where the injury happened. He had to fly back into London this morning to then fly back into Lyon. It was only when he got here that he wasn't cleared to compete. He was hopeful that he'd be able to get taped up and get cleared, but we weren't able to get that clearance. And as a result of that, he wasn't able to compete tonight. So I guess it's one of those things where it's a case of you're going to have to get back to London, get everything looked at in the morning, and then we'll look at stuff for next week as and when we have the information available to us.
Well, the British Heavyweight Championship was not the only title on the line tonight. Unexpectedly, the undisputed British Cruiserweight Championship was up for grabs as well. Nino O'Brien ended up putting it on the line against Kyle Hoxton and was able to hold on to it. Also, of course, Leon Cage against Kuro. We know that Cage has his sights set on that cruiserweight championship, was able to get a win, albeit controversially, over Kuro tonight. What's your thoughts on the direction of the cruiserweight division right now?
Well, listen, it was a very opportunistic of Kyle Hoxton. And look, I want to give a shout out to him because look, we said in the lead up to this thing, what we said was people need to make their minutes count, right? And it was a huge opportunity. And I think there were two. Look, of course, Kuro goes without. Without mentioning, we already knew that he was a superstar. I think the two standouts from France today were JGU in her performance against Nina Samuels and Kyle Hoxton in his performance against Nino Bryan. And ironically, they lost those matches. Yet I'm walking away from this talking about them, and I think that's a testament how you can win in losing, essentially. Because they both put up a hell of a fight. And Kyle Hoxton, you may disagree with his tactics, but he goaded Nino Bryan in to that undisputed British Cruiserweight Championship match. You know that Nino's gone on record saying, I'll defend this championship against anyone at any time. And he took advantage of the emotion of the situation and perhaps the immaturity of Nino Bryan, because we forget he's the oldest Bryant brother, but he's still a very, very young man in this sport.
Can I just say, by the way, I said during the show he's 22, and Nino caught me in the locker room afterwards and said his mum called him to say, could you tell Dave to say that he's 23 now? So I apologize.
Oh, wow.
23.
Yeah. There you go. So 23-year-old Nino Bryan, but still an emotional wrestler. Not as emotional as Xander Bryan,
no,
but an emotional wrestler. And Kyle Hoxton tried to take advantage of that situation. Nino Bryan picked up another big win here tonight. Listen, Leon Cage, we saw in Southampton him come out, confront Nino Bryan. We saw them compete against each other. The fight for the future, it was dubbed at high stakes, which effectively, Leon Cage won, and that effectively put Leon Cage in contention to be the cruiserweight champion.
And of course, Cage has beaten Will Caven now as well.
Yes,
so the match when
champion.
Once Cage got injured, the match that ended up happening at the Revolution Rumble was, of course, Caven against Nino Bryan, which Bryan won. But Leon Cage has beaten both of them, so he obviously has a claim here to be able to compete.
Absolutely, he's got a claim. Yeah. And listen, we're going to make good on that claim. Next week, live in London, it's going to be Leon Cage versus Nino Bryan. Live in London 101, live from the Porchester Hall for the undisputed British Cruiserweight Championship. And what I'm loving about this match, obviously it's a fight for the future. It's a fight we'll probably see again and again and again and again. It's the second time we're going to see this match. Both men have grown and evolved as wrestlers, in particular Nino, who was on the losing side of the previous encounter. But listen, Leon Cage got a new experience today in Lyon, not been booed like that before, but he weathered that storm, didn't he? And he got a win, controversial win over Kuro, but a win is a win is a win, as they say.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was very mature the way he dealt with it. He kind of leaned into it. He said, you want to boo me? I'll give you something to boo, and kind of adapted his strategy.
Absolutely. Often you see people freeze in that situation, but not Leon Cage. He's a special breed. But so is Nino Bryan. And listen, this cruiserweight division is the most competitive it's been for as long as I can remember. And I'm super excited to see them compete against each other. I'm super excited to see more names added to the cruiserweight division. I'm super excited. Look, after we saw Joe Lando and Nino Bryan in Coventry, I'd love to revisit that one. And we we even saw a little glimpse of it in that tag match earlier on as well, when Joe dove out onto Hoxton, Nino, all the crew. But look, cruiserweight division is super exciting. Heavyweight division is super exciting. Women's division is super, everything right now in Revolution Pro Wrestling is super, super exciting as we're approaching the end of the year, but there's no slowing down for us.
You mentioned the women's division. That's one of two matches I want to mention that you announced during commentary today. You're dropping the exclusives left, right, and centre today. So let's talk about it. Nina Samuel's going to face off against Sapphire Reed. The winner is going to be officially recognised as the leader of the Cutthroat Collective.
Yeah, I guess it's a CTC sanctioned match. There's been a bit of the bone in contention about who is the real leader of the Cutthroat Collective. Is it Nina Samuels? Is it Sapphire Reed? When they first started this thing, they were all equals. And then Alex Windsor seemed to become the de facto leader of that group. But they kicked Alex Windsor out. And Alex Windsor, as I guess the mother figure in the group, the leader figure in that group. She was the one who was calling the shots. She was the one who was choosing the direction of a Cutthroat Collective. And now she's away. It seems like the Cutthroat Collective are pulling in different directions, maybe, or have got different ideas about,
or maybe one way or another. Then next week's sorts it out.
Yeah, either that or implode from within, which I don't know if that would be a bad thing. It might be a good thing.
Be a good thing for everyone else.
Good thing for Francesca and Sarah Hatch and Chris Hatch. And you're lucky you've not been targeted.
Yeah, thanks for putting the commentary table quite a way away at Portchester Hall. That helped me a lot. The other one I want to talk about, I mentioned briefly that Luke Jacobs beat Trent Seven tonight. Hell of a match as it was in Coventry last month. Trent's got a big match coming up as well, of course. You announced today that he's going to team with Mark Haskins to take on the Machine coming up, and that hopefully will finally set to rest what has been a thorn in the side of Trent Seven for
this is done. After November 23rd, this is done. It's Haskins and Seven against the Machine, November 23rd, live from the HMV Empire in Coventry, and it's going to be a Coventry street fight. So it's going to be a hell of a match, I'm sure, and it's going to be a great way to kind of finally put an end to all of his stuff. Because look, what we've seen consistently with Trent Seven is when he's not had to worry about the Machine, TK Cooper and Chuck Mambo, when he's not had to worry about them, look at the consistency that he's been able to produce week in, week out. I think Trent Seven right now is at the very top of his game. And I said it on commentary. Luke Jacobs said it in the presser yesterday. I think you'll be hard pressed to, he's one of these wrestlers, isn't he, who people just assume because he's been around for a long time and because he was a part of, that NXT UK deal, people think negative thoughts about him. But look, there's very few men that are as passionate for this business as Trent Seven, and there are very few men who are able to consistently produce the levels of professional wrestling that Trent Seven has done and is continuing to do. There's very few men with a body of work like Trent Seven that is continuing to produce. So I just hope he can get back to focusing on that, because it's always like when the Machine are around, the smile's gone. And you don't like to see that because Trent's a charming guy. You don't like to see that, do you?
Now, quickly, we are charging at high speed towards the end of the year somehow already. It's November at the end of the week. Got big events coming up, as we've already talked about. We've got London, Sheffield, Coventry coming up in November. London again, of course, at the start of December. Uprising in Cardiff, and it's all on the road to our 14-year anniversary at Wembley Arena on August 29th next year. Looking at what we've got left in the last, 8-9 weeks of the year, and what we already know is announced for some of those shows. What are you most looking forward to at the moment?
Christmas dinner. No, it's insane, isn't it? Because this is it. I just remember it sat there in the summer, the beautiful weather, you dripping buckets. And
you turned the heating on to make it look like I was more scared of Ricky Knight Jr. than I was, I swear.
And I just remember when that was all going down and we were just like, it's the summer of RevPro. We got action every week. Now look at us.
Yeah.
Right. Last week, Fantastic Mania UK. I think the week before we were in... where were we? We were somewhere the week before.
Southampton. Yeah.
Week before that?
I had to think about that.
Where were we?
London the week before that.
London the week before that.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I can't think more than 3 weeks back. But
look, we're going straight into it. We're back to back. Next week, we're back at the Portchester Hall live in London 101. We've got the Good Brothers versus Lycos Gym just been announced. We've got Alan Angels going up against Jay Joshua. We're obviously going to see the fallout from that Jay Joshua Shah Samuels match. Hopefully, we're going to see Michael Oku and Shah Samuels compete for those tag team championships against the Young Guns. And obviously, we've just said Nina Samuels versus Sapphire Reed. So much more still to announce. It's an exciting time. We're going to roll straight from there to Sheffield, November 9th. The return of Manders is happening on the 9th of November in Sheffield. Another exclusive for you, Shikahiro Irie is going to return to Revolution Pro Wrestling on November the 9th. From there, we roll into... from there, we've got 1 week off. I was supposed to be moving house that week, but that's all fallen through. So it probably means I'm going to be moving house during...
Why don't we just debut in a new country?
Why not?
Why not? Let's do it.
But yeah, then we've got... Then after that week off, we're back with Coventry.
Mm-hmm.
November 23rd. And then what we've got, London 202.
Yeah.
102.
102.
And then we've got, what we got?
There's loads.
Uprising.
Uprising in December.
So,
well, look, let's toast to a wonderful night.
Yeah, we've got some good hospitality here going on in France.
Here in Lyon. Someone just passed us some wonderful French champagne. So, we are off to Lyon against Strasbourg.
We are. We're actually going to get along in a football game for once.
Tonight.
So yeah, go Lyon. Up the Lyon.
I think it starts in like 1 hour, so we actually need to move.
Yeah, we do.
But thank you for joining us. We will see you, of course, next week live in London, Portchester Hall. In the meantime, thank you for being here. Andy, thanks as always, and we'll see you next week.